Dancing at the border, singing for new order, Frontex in the corner, we are taking over.
September 2015, Skalasi Kaminas. It's getting dark and we start on our way to Mytilene. At the sides of the road, exhausted people walk. Every car that passes by is a hope that overtakes speedily. Every day boats arrive at the beaches and the people have to walk 50 kilometers crossing mountains and valleys to get to Mytilene and be registered. We are with 2 cars and have agreed to stop for small children and families. Now it's dark and the car lights illuminate the black shadows. I see a big group with small kids and I stop. They hurry into the car and I close the doors quickly. I start the van full of exhausted people. A baby in the arms of a young man, 2 small kids, 3 young women, 1 elderly man. They ask how much the ride costs and I say nothing. Silence in the car. Are they finally calm? Did they fall asleep? Are they trying to imagine what will come next? Only the elderly man engages with me. And then he asks, "Why did you stop and pick us up?"
It was an adventure night, being in the boat together with 35 people. Among us there were some children also, and when we were in a very short distance to shore, suddenly we saw a light from far distance, and we became very afraid of that light because it was too much scary for us, as we had the same experience of being arrested by the boat that had the same light. So we misunderstood that maybe this light is the light of the Turkish Coast Guards, and they will arrest us and they will take us from the boat and will bring us to Turkey again. So we were afraid of that. Then, because we had also some small holes from inside of the boat, so all the women and mostly all the men, they decided to take off their shoes and they started throwing the water from the boat and to rescue all the members of the boat. When the boat came, they introduced themselves and then said that as you called us for help, so we want to rescue all of you, and don't worry, we are not the Coast Guards of Turkey. And it was the best moment for us because we could feel the peace and being safe.
When Parvana arrived, the Greek Coast Guard was rescuing. But politics changed, and now refugees report daily of pushbacks to the Turkish waters. People arriving on dinghies on the island are brought to the hotspot Moria to be registered. The hotspot is an overcrowded prison with open doors to avoid riots. As soon as there are less people, the doors will close. People have to live here for months, wasting their days queuing for hours for water, food, toilets, doctors. Children have no access to school. On the other side of the barbed wire, among the olive trees, a huge village daily growing, tents under the trees in the olive grove. 20,000 people wait with incredible patience, some since 2 years. They self-organize to survive.
Exactly when I entered to the camp, people were shouting that welcome to the hill, because I didn't know that why they are calling the Moria as a hill. I didn't know many things about here. Now when I see that people are living in the corners and in the roots, so I can understand that it was really a hill for many of us.
That's where I met Parvana, a sister soul with fire in her thoughts. Parvana, living day and night under the olive trees, learned to appreciate them, but also felt the pain of the burning of the branches to bake bread and cook. Instead of queuing for hours for uneatable food, people prefer the freedom of cooking on the fire. Bread, bolani, kabouli, bring back memories and tastes of home. I think of the local people whose lives are bound with the olive trees. Out of our thoughts, Parvana developed the story, The Olive Tree and the Old Woman, and I made the drawings. Parvana is running through her life, chasing her future. I was a bit older than Parvana when my parents decided to leave Greece out of political reasons. I hadn't realized it was forever. The small red suitcase with my belongings I carried along got lost during the trip. Later, I realized that memories don't fit in suitcases. They follow us in our thoughts and hearts. Maybe that is the reason for me to feel happiness in strengthening children in their abilities to decide on their own what they want to remember and what to forget, to self-organize their memories.
Writing is what I only have in my life. Writing is the only way I can feel free and I can take out what is going on in my heart, what is going on in my soul. When I am alone, when I have my pen, my paper, the torch that is up to our tent, and I start writing what is going on during the day in my life and in many other people's life. They are sharing with me their words. I am responsible against what I can see, so I should write. I should take out these voices.
We had two enormous olive trees over our tents that add a very great shadow. In the summer, as it was very hot and we didn't have the fan, their shadow was the only source that could make the space of our tents a bit colder. And most of the time the olives were falling from the trees on our tents, and I was thinking that maybe there are stones that are falling from the skies to the tents, but they were the olives.
I cannot believe that I have this book in my hands. I cannot believe that I can see each picture and I can read the words that I was thinking about it many days. I cannot believe that I can touch it, what I was dreaming for many dark nights. The olive tree and the old woman. I have lived for years and years, but I have never been as proud of myself as today. All are similarly thrilled to see that their own being, their own existence, gives others happiness and joy. I symbolize glory and peace. My olive oil is used for people's death, and it is the basic ingredient of Mediterranean food. Today, my trunk becomes a strong pillar for the orphan child to lean against and shed its tears. Today, my high branches hold the roots of a little boy's swing as he moves back and forth, thinking and dreaming. But one day, the sharp blade of the old woman's axe shook our strong trunks. Hello, dear and holy olive tree. I swear that if I would choose a planet to worship, it would be you. Life has normally ups and downs, but my life has always been flat. My son walks far away onto the hills to collect dry wood and start the fire. And instead of going to school, we'll go around trying to sell the bread when it's ready. There are a lot of bakeries nowadays in Moria, and selling is very difficult. Hello, old woman. You sat with me. You have memories with me. You drank tea under my shade and trees like me. You spoke about your memories of your youth to my high branch. You harvested my bitter olives, one by one, and worked for weeks on them, and after many days' effort you ate my olives with your children. You used my oil for your everyday pains and massaged it on your body to become healthy again. I want to be a friend of nature, not its enemy. I want to pass my last days with my family in rest. What if someone in this world would hold my hands so I could become an ally of nature? When I sit with olive trees, it is like they are crying for me and they are telling me their wishes. I had my cup of green tea with my notebook and pen, and I was only writing about what I was witness to see, and the olive tree was giving me some ideas to write.
Few meters away on the other side of the road, Chrysostomos sits in his olive grove with 15 olive trees. 15 from the 11 million olive trees in Lesbos. Every afternoon he comes to this small calm olive grove, feeds his animals and passes time in peace with nature. Later, when the harvest season starts, the olive groves become crowded. Season workers, hand in hand with locals, collect the olives from the trees. Starting work before the sun comes out and working hard all day, they only stop when darkness comes, exhausted but satisfied. The baskets full of olives become for a second in their eyes the golden oil they are all waiting for. Many generations of families join the hard work and share the hardships and joys of the harvest, collecting olives and producing memories. Sometimes beloved ones return to visibility among the olive trees. The poet Nikiforos Vretakos writes, "With the ladder on the shoulder through the olive trees her ghost passed. It was my mother. I recognized her by her headscarf, which was waving untied, by her hands, and by the beam of light that was coming out of her smile. The hour, the earth, the familiar nipple of the soil comported with her presence. I called her without any doubt. She saluted me with an airy nod. Then she stood on tiptoes and started to rise. She was crossing the air towards the skies as she was with the ladder." Theophilos painted this olive grove 1933, 1 year before he died. A museum keeps his memory alive in his painting. He was buried in Agios Panteleimonas cemetery, where the drowned refugees get buried too. Also his grave doesn't exist anymore. The olive trees spread their magic on people's souls since centuries. In ancient Greece, it was forbidden to use the wood of olive trees except for temples and statues. Burning of olive branches was only allowed if used to pray to the gods. In Europe, you can find several very old olive trees, some said to be thousands of years old, like the olive tree of Plato in a field a bit out of Athens. Plato settled his academy under this huge tree, where he taught his pupils. Last century, the tree was a tourist attraction, until 1976, a bus ran over it. In 2000, when the price of heating oil was so high due to the financial crisis, many people took wood illegally, including the trunk of this famous tree.
I have the best news of my day for you. I started teaching in the school. The name of the school is Wave of Hope for the Future. And the best part of the school that they have an olive tree in one of the tents. I mean, the handmade tents and the classes, they have an olive tree because they didn't want to cut the trunk of the olive tree, so they decided to cover the tent and to keep the olive tree in the middle of the tent. And while teaching, some of the children they sit back to the trunk of the olive tree, and so the olive tree is making the shadow over the tent. It's very nice. very nice because some of times when I stop teaching for the children and I write some paragraphs about olive tree, it is like olive tree is speaking with the children, and he is very happy that children are studying under its shadow. They paint the olive tree, and for the olives they make some circles around, and then they color it. It is very nice, very, very nice. We are happy with olive trees and they are happy with us.
Years later, when Parvana will return to see this place where politics forced her to stay instead of welcoming her in Europe, the olive trees will be still there, offer their shadows. I'm sure the hotspot Moria will be then just a memory, like Pagani prison has become. And the reality will look like our dreams, Lesbos being an island where people can arrive safely and continue their journey. The sea among Turkey and Greece will be a uniting water, not a deadly border. And we still will be here to welcome them, to walk with them through the olive trees and through their memories. And remember then, Parvanas of this world, to return in the right season to share with local friends the harvesting and the taste of the olive oil on toasted bread on the fire.